Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Namaste to everyone. Welcome to the Nature for All IUCN dialogue on my impact on conservation through films. Really excited to be doing this dialogue. We've been planning this for quite some time. Very happy that I have two very close and very respected colleagues and friends who we've interacted over the years and shared and seen their committed concerns to come and share their experience today. It's difficult to get filmmakers to come and talk because they're always in the field, but we're excited that they're finally here. So before I start, and I know there will be many more joining us because we really had a fantastic registration for this. So let me welcome on my behalf to all the fellow colleagues who have joined us from all over the world to this dialogue, and I hope this will inspire many more of you to make films and use films for conservation and for doing your work more effectively. Let me take a minute to explain about IUCN CEC. I know most of you know because you're all from the same family, but just to give you a kind of a brief glimpse that we are one of the 7 commissions of the IUCN, the International Union for Conservation on Nature, for Nature. And this commission is focused and committed on doing creative, innovative, participatory, responsive, effective communication and education for certainly on the well-being of the people and the planet, and of course, everyone in the planet. I don't know how many of you know that this IUCN CEC has 4 program priorities, and Nature for All, and I do request all of you to go to Nature for All website and have a look at it, is our flagship program where we do a range of programs and activities, and it's also a very beautiful resource for all of us. Anything technical or any information or any toolkits that they would like to know about communicating a issue, this is where you need to go. Program priority 2 is, of course, nature education for sustainability, environment literacy, environment and biodiversity learning in schools, colleges is something very important. And this is where we contribute in our ways about documenting what's happening all over the world, both policies and in practice. And program number 3 is basically looking at how do we engage more younger people in the policy planning, programming of what we are doing to our planet and making decisions that is affecting them in the future. And finally, looking at more proactive, effective, more scientific ways of reimagining communication for conservation. So these are the 4 program areas, and under these areas, we do a range of activities. And again, I would request all of you to go to the website and look at your area of work or concern or interest to know more on what you can do as a member or would like to do or access resources to be using from there. I would love to talk a little bit about Nature for All Storytelling Festival because it is for this community. It's an amazing story festival, which you can showcase your love for nature. What is your love story for nature? It can be in any format. It can be a film, it can be a poem, it can be a photograph, it can be an event, and you can be part of the 500 plus organizations who are part of the Nature for All network all over the world, and share your concerns with us. I mean, doesn't have to be always a concern or an issue. It can be just what you love about nature. So, and that's what natureforall.global, the website, will tell you a little bit more about it. So that's all about IUCN CEC. I want to talk a little bit about these dialogues. These dialogues are basically for the IUCN community. So it's not only CEC members, there are other commission members and other members who are interested in IUCN or part of other communities. They're all there. Today, I already have about 45 members joined in, and it's a monthly kind of a thing. We have series of it on different issues. This particular issue is only as you all know, is looking at filmmaking and how can films impact conservation, and that's the focus today. And I'm very excited that we have two very well-known filmmakers, one from India and one from Switzerland, are joining us. I will, of course, give a complete detail about their background and ask them to speak. But before they speak, let me start by introducing myself. I think I would be dependent if I don't do that. I head an organization called the Center for Media Studies based in Delhi. And we are the ones who started now Asia's largest international film festival and forum exclusively on environment and wildlife called CMS VATAVARAN. And I'm also the IUCN CEC Regional Vice Chair for South and Southeast Asia. And that's why I was asked to, do this particular dialogue. So to learn more about how more effectively can we use films in the conservation sector or field. And so let me take a minute to explain a little bit about Vatavaran and what we have or what our experiences, our learnings are in this sector. I don't know how many of you know this festival is in two kind of forums. Oh, I wanted to show you a small film. Can I do that now? Deepinder, can we see a brief snippet of the Vatavaran Legacy film, and then we can start off on this presentation?
To appreciate the idea of Vatavaran, one need to understand the times when it all started. In 1990, Vatavaran, that is environment, was not on the national agenda. It was not in the national news media. It was not debated, or discourse was not there about the environmental issues, any of the issues, as a matter of fact. So that was the time when we thought that we need to do something about it. Because research alone is not enough. We need to do something beyond research. So that's how we came up with the idea of Vatavaran, whereby we bring in the news media, the visual media, and the scientists, and the policy people, and the children. Most important people are the children and the school system.
And particularly Vatavaran, which are the films based on nature and of the nature, for the nature. So these are fantastic things. Nature by itself is such a creative process.
As far as Vatavaran is concerned, it's a wonderful step for CMS to take because it becomes a marvelous catalyst for change in terms of changing mindsets of people regarding the environment in which they live.
Starting from 2002 to now 2019, this is the 10th CMS Vatavaran, which is a competitive edition. As you know, it's a very long process. It takes almost 2 years for our festival to be organized. So we actually don't have it every year, but every alternate year. The year in between, of course, the shortlisted nominated films and the award-winning films are taken to different festivals across the world, and also the traveling festival in India.
You have to know the craft. You have to know what is it, how to write a good screenplay. It's a craft.
I really like the way everything is made out of natural products, and there's nothing artificial, and the movies were really good.
I just really wanted to give you a glimpse of our festival so that understand what we do and why this excitement about the festival. As you can see, the festival is really, really festive and exciting, and it really has a wide range of stakeholders coming together to show their love and concern for environment. And as I explained, we do this film festival in a competitive way. Biannually, we call for entries. For example, the 12th edition of this festival will be held in February 2024. We already got 700 plus films from all over the world. I think 64 countries. Mr. Sabyasachi Bharti, who is the deputy head of CMS VATAVARAN, would tell you more, but we've got more than those films already, and the deadline is October mid, I think. And we will then have a rigorous jury process, select the awardees, showcase the films in the festival, and then take the festival to different parts of the traveling festival. We went to Bhutan last year. Again, Rakesh was there. We went to Goa earlier this year. So we travel with the films everywhere. And it's not just the film for films, but it's also a place where we do a lot of seminars, discussions. It's a forum where we actually discuss important critical concerns that matter to all of us, but we don't have spaces to discuss about it. And that's why Vatavaran, we feel, is very important intervention. It's no longer a festival only. It's a movement to impact policy, perception, and practice. Yeah, so as I was mentioning in the film, we actually can talk a lot about milestones, and it may take a couple of hours, so I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to give you just few ideas about two stories. I just want to share two stories about what we have shared, what we have done or impacted. That's what I've been asked most of it, and today's theme is also on looking at impact of what all we have done through our films. So while I can talk about how we've inspired many new filmmakers into this over the last 2 decades, and I can talk about how individually we've inspired action on ground, people to start some movements or some club or even a film, or even to take action on ground and cleaning up their own backyards, but also to impact policy. And here is one example I want to share with you. As you know, CMS VATAVARAN started with the government of India's support, and the government of Delhi, New Delhi, the city where we are based, the head of the state is the chief minister. The chief minister always had one award exclusively in her name. She was Madam Sheila Dikshit, and it was called the Delhi Chief Minister's Award. It was a special award, and every year for a groundbreaking film, we gave that award. In 1 year, that was 2006, where this award was given. It was given to a film which was very unique, and for the first time talking about something called e-waste. E-waste is the waste that we come from computers, electronics, and all the stuff that we throw away. And there wasn't yet a policy or a program or even a concern about what we were doing with e-waste. So in that festival, and usually Madam Sheila Dikshit would come and give this particular award away, and as usual, as most politicians, she would come late. And so at that year, we didn't we finished the whole program. We gave away the award, we showed the film, and then enters Madam Sheila Dikshit and into the auditorium, and we were as the organizers, you can understand how concerned we were about what we do now, because it's protocol and we can't say no to her. And she came in and she says, "What happened? I want to see the film. I'm sorry I'm late." And I'm like, okay. So just for her, we showed her the film. It was a 20-minute film, and we had to reshuffle all our program, and then of course for her do a re-show of the whole film. But it was so impactful that a chief minister sat through the whole film very quietly. She wasn't upset that, and we didn't make her give the award, but she was so impressed with the film and she was so concerned. She told us, "I want you to show this film to all my officials in my assembly next week." And she made us show the film to all her officials. And after that, they were asked to make the first draft e-waste policy for New Delhi. And that was how the whole discussion and discourse about how do you dispose of e-waste and what kind of policies should governments have. Now, of course, we have much more rigorous policies, but I'm just giving you a small example of how a film, and there are many more such examples and case studies that we can, I'm sure our film, other panelists and audiences can also share, have. The other story, which is also my favorite story, is in a school in New Delhi again, because that's where I live. And actually, it was a school where my son also studied, and when he was younger. And so I even go to these programs, but I entered because obviously my son was there, so I really wanted to go to this particular school. And so I did the inaugural and talked to children. And then the first movie that we saw in Sri Ram School, New Delhi, was a beautiful film called Brush with Death. It was about brushes, painting brushes made out of mongoose hair. And the beautiful film, a very short 10-15 minute film about how mongoose are tortured and their hair is removed to make these brushes. And what can we do to ensure that no longer mongoose hair is used to make these brushes? And I was so shocked. I mean, even I had tears after that film, but young people didn't have tears. They were so angry. They actually stood up and said, I mean, of course, we had heated discussion. So every film we show, we don't end with just showing the film. We have a lot of discussion after that. So in this one, these are young kids, huh? If you're class 5, class 4, 6 kids standing up and say, ma'am, we want to do something. What can we do? How can we do this? How can we make sure that these are not... So one young girl said, I think we should stop using this. I will start a campaign against them. Make sure that my school and all schools in Delhi do not carry mongoose hair brushes anymore. And that started a movement again. It was as simple as that. But yet, as simple as it looks, it wasn't as simple, really. That film had that power to really touch your heart. And also, of course, really move you to do something about it. And that's, I think, as a media researcher and a scholar who has been studying media for the last 3 decades, for me, that is the power of an audiovisual that really moves you to take some action and to sustain your action. And that's why this film festival, because we understand and believe in that power. And filmmaking itself is a beautiful process of engaging not just with your love, but your concerns and showing the challenges that can inspire others to make that change possible. So I think with those words, I'm going to kind of stop where we are and actually hand it over to the panelists today. And I have, as I mentioned, we are very excited that we have 2 eminent filmmakers who are using their concerns. One, we have Miss Brigitte Kornetzky. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it very well. She is very passionate. Yeah, thank you, Brigitte. Human and animal activist who now resides both in, I would call her a little bit of an Indian also, because she's done, though she resides in Switzerland and South Africa. She spent a lot of time in India, especially in the Northeast, and also documenting and showing ways to resolve human-elephant conflict in the Northeast India. And she's also has some amazing films, which we have shown in CMS VATAVARAN. She's attended our festivals and seen what a power of a film can be. I'm very happy that she's here. And I would really love to hear, Brigitte, about your experience. I know you became a filmmaker in the 90s and used your passion and your activism and use the films as a mode to kind of inspire action and also educate huge number of people on your concerns. So share with us your story and your passion and how you have used your films to make a difference in doing the work that you do. Over to you, Brigitte.
Oh, oh my God, Vasanti. Thank you so much. I mean, this broad horizon that you just brought up says it almost all. It's really wonderful what CMS is doing, and I appreciate your work highly, highly. I can't even tell how much. And yeah, thank you for continuing it despite all the hardships which come in between. It is not easy after all, and I might even have a similar mongoose hairbrush story like you have. Mine is a little bit bigger. It's the Indian elephant, and yeah, what to say? It got me in 2010, 11, I think it was, that winter, where I had the title already in my head. And I have not even seen one single elephant yet. I was just on my way to Hattigang. This story in detail is a little long. I just want to join you in the passion that a film has to have, just to bring over the message and not just then drop it once it has entered the festival career. Just keep going with it in all levels, and in no matter what. You know, I come basically from human rights films that I've done before in Africa, and I joined to animal rights frequently in India regarding the elephant, because I have never seen such a huge, intelligent, sentient, beautiful animal, which has been, or still is at the same time, so maltreated and mistreated and neglected, and name it, it's there. So since that days, I have made lots of films. One big one is that we are always referring to. It's the Where the Elephant Sleeps. And maybe, you just see some pictures here on the screen. In my and when I make a film, basically, I'm making a film about something that I personally do not know yet. That's number one. I need basically, what I'm doing is I do the same educational corpus, bringing it to my audience, which I had to have for myself, because I feel this is the best learning curve that somebody can have when you enter a world which you have never entered before, and you start learning about it, and you start feeling, setting up emotions, you set up feelings, you come to conclusions also. And mine went in the midst of the shooting from I'm taking it in to, wait a minute, there's something completely wrong here. So, and that was a bit my curve. And as you can see, the elephants here, I will just show you a movie in a few minutes. They are, that film Where the Elephant Sleeps is shot in Jaipur, and I followed a big gray coloss on the horizon, which was shifting from the left side to the right side and again to the left side. And I said to the driver, please, wherever it goes, I want to go there. Where this one goes, I want to be. And we ended up in Hattigang, which is the elephant village. And long stories, conversations back and forth. And I started shooting in Hattigang for quite some time, and figured out that these elephants all have a problem. Not one elephant in that film Where the Elephant Sleeps is alive today. It wasn't alive 5 years back even. Within a half year, 5 elephants died. That means almost one elephant a month. So this is terrible. And you can see in the film why this is happening. Also, I'm not giving any answers to that. I am just bringing it to daylight. And that daylight, these elephants on the film have made an enormous impact on the management, on the captivity of, I mean, not just the film, just all the consequential things that happened. For example, we released it in Jaipur in the Java Kala Kendra, with together have invited the forest department. Yeah, and the forest department was shocked, and asked me to come in next day, basically into the office. And from then on, things happened. But it's almost impossible for me just to catch up from that day up to today. There is how to say, there is corruption included. There is a lot of neglect and actually misunderstanding included. There is selfishness including. There is so many aspects on why elephants are still treated like that. Wait a minute, I've lost the site. Is that correct? I've lost you. I lost just the site. Wait a minute.
We hear you, Brigitte. We see you too.
You see me. Oh, okay, then it's fine. So yeah, it's a real long story. You can see in the pictures the elephants have foot problems. They have to walk in the glazing sun to Amerford with tourists with 300 plus kgs with a howdah on their backs. They have arthritis. They have the last investigation that I did together with the Animal Welfare Board of India, in their name, was to investigate about tuberculosis. And we found out that out of 15 elephants which do the rides to Amerford, 7 were inflicted with tuberculosis. So, you know, nobody knows that. It's a terrible situation. So what I then did in the consequence is, because I was really alarmed, I could not let go anymore from that film and from others to happen. I made several small films after that, and now I just come out with 2 more feature-length films. What I did is I took any and every opportunity to screen the film to universities, to colleges, to classrooms, to had packed audiences in a like a stadium, like with 300 kids sitting on the floor and watching. And that was about the same experience that you had, Vasanti, with the mongoose hair story. They are so, they cannot believe what they see on the screen. And that is what I'm saying, that is I don't know, somehow you think we have shot it all, we have seen it all, we are our thing is filled up with images, with pictures, everything is inflationable. But the film that you make on one single issue can bring up the topic to daylight, and otherwise it will not work. Otherwise it doesn't. So the kids were standing up and asking, "Ma'am, what can we do? How can we help? Why is the Indian government allowing this? You know, why they are not aware of that?" So it's really I know, and I still believe that the future of our environment is starting in the classroom. In the classroom of every college, school, environment, whatever. What I'm doing next is I'm taking a little projector that I will buy in Assam. I'm 18th of October, I go back to India. And I will buy that projector and screen the film excerpts from that, not just in a classroom or in a school or a college. I will go into the same situation where I've shot the film out there in the tea plantation and screen that to the people with some solutions at the end of the film. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I'm coming from the grassroots level, going up to the government level, and coming back down to the grassroots level. Yeah, so now we all have to take a deep breath, because I would like you, before the time is running out, I would like you to see a few minutes of that film. I just had a learning curve with Vasanti. I have to share the screen. I'll click on that button right now. Share screen. I do. Then go on video, share. let's see. I have to find that one again. Oi, oi, oi. Desktop. A video for art. Wait. It's been, there it is. You got it? Open. Now it starts from the scratch. We don't want that. Wait a minute.
You see your
Yeah, I'm just flipping through to find the right spot. 20. That is a strange format. The format is not right. 30. One more. It's a bit compressed. Is there anything to do about that?
I'm not sure I can do anything. Rakesh, do you have any suggestion on the format?
I'm not sure whether it's because due to the internet connectivity or not, but at Bridgette's
Anyway,
end,
let's
that's why it's compressing the video.
That could be. But anyway, be it you, my apologies for that. As I said, my house is on the rim of a forest. We have a very, very bad internet connection. We are struggling day in, day out with it. But that's how it is. So the picture is a little compressed.
Yes.
Apologies for that. But anyway, we let it run for a few minutes, and then this is basically to catch up for you is I came to Hattigang as a nobody. I didn't know anything what's going on there. I was just curious, and my curiosity brought up an enormous big thing on the elephants. I have set up an NGO in 2014. I have made several films. I support Indian and other wildlife rescue centers. I just do food treatment for the elephants. I do besides all these educational things, I also did a food treatment educational film. I sponsor an elephant archive. I do what else? It's tons and tons and tons of. So, but all that work is due to that film, and I come into that film as maybe you. I didn't know anything until I saw they are all going down, and now I'll show you how they go down.
Feel the pen here, not work, very dealer. Now this is all body have running. This is same like in sugar. This is all is go back on tail. Then see is good. Start to here. Elephant going.
बेटा पहले कल उसकी सफाई जी यहाँ से भी आएगी सारी और पूरा जोर आ रहा है ये तो बेकार है पूरा इसका सिखाई होगी तभी जाके मारेगा देखा हट
पनवोदर जहरवाद वाले को मिर्च काला जीरी दोनों पीस पनवोदर के लक्षण मुंह फिर जाए रस्सू हकीम करे उपाय दाना रातब खाए जब फील रस अटके जब जोर डंड सूजे सूजे बुझा छाती बंद हो जाए रस उतरे फील के मुड्डे तबक में रस आ उतरे जब पाँव में सूज फूल जाए चूबते तबक फूटे जब जाए माने चबक दुखे गना बों फूटे नू छूटे छूटे जड़ ढीली पड़ जाए तबक गिरे कांडी पड़े अच्छी मूल न होए हकीम करो उपाय रस आवे है चारों पाँव में तबक बों चूहे जब आए तबक फूले चूहे कांडी पड़े अच्छी होए न होए हकीम करो उपाय रस आवे जब फील के दाना राता मूल न दे अगर चुगड़ बंद हो जाए हकीम करो उपाय रस से घनरस होए दाना रातब रस में फील जो खाए रस में घनरस यूं होए नाड़ी नजर हाथी के रस भाव की
Really heartbreaking.
Yeah. So
I can understand that was really something that moved you, didn't it, Brigitte? And obviously anybody who sees it will not be able to keep quiet. So I mean, those were really horrendous visuals, and I know some of my colleagues in this part of the world have seen something like this, but have kept quiet. But you didn't keep quiet. You took it as a that concerned you. What did you do about it? And that we'll end with that, and we'll move on to Rakesh after that.
yeah, thanks, Vasanti. Yeah, I was like you are extremely taken by that, and it did not let go anymore through my rest of the life. So what I did was, I mean, my profession is a filmmaker, and we experience problems all over the place. So kind of misunderstandings are part of the conflict, are part of all levels. So we need to do something about it. And as a filmmaker, I can only do something as a filmmaker, but I go way over the limits with that, because I just don't stop on a film festival and think, no, it will take its own way. I'll just go in all kinds of directions. And I think that is the need of the hour. We need to go in all possible directions to spread that message, to bring out the issues. And that is not the only issues. There are tons of issues. Why are tons of questions as well? Why are they doing it like that? It's an educational thing. You cannot blame anybody, basically. Not even if a elephant owner is beating the elephants. I have this too. I mean, they have, from the spikes in Kerala, they have all the wounds. The elephants they're sitting there, the musk elephants sitting all in Kerala, in Tiruvandrum, in the festival season, rented out like a Mercedes, and they barely have tires anymore. So honestly, they barely can walk sometimes. They have so many problems. And if you speak with scientists, they agree entirely, but they are also quite quiet because they do not want to risk, their scientific experience, their they're that they getting not the fundings anymore. So it's for them, it's difficult. For me, it's easy, honestly, because I'm a foreigner. I will open my mouth. I will never ever shut up on these issues, and I will do my level best. And whoever wants to help from your Indian side to bring these issues, to address these issues, I am there. I'm there with you, but you have to make the step. I just can't submit it, and I bring it out, and I write articles, and I publish in books, and everywhere. Just a new publication is on the Jaipur elephants in a book called Trampled Boundaries from Dr. Navin Pandey in Assam, together with what's his name? an ecologist, an elderly man, a very nice man in India, Capacity. It doesn't come. Anyway,
Brigitte, we have
everything from my side.
Brigitte,
Please,
we have two very interesting questions in the chat. One question that we will take these questions after we hear Rakesh, because I think
yes,
there will be some very common questions. One was the question about how do people allow you to make such kind of footage as a filmmaker? I think that's the kind of question they're asking. Second is the question that Sarna is asking about, how do you counter potential arguments such as these people are doing this because they need to make a living too. So this is, I'm sure you've heard this before. So how do you counter that? Think about it. We'll come back to you, because I really want to listen to what Rakesh has to say, and I'm sure he will also give us experiences of his on potential about how he does his activism. So let me introduce you to my second panelist and our favorite resource person right now. He's been coming to our festival and doing some amazing workshops, and we're really excited to have him here today also to speak. You just heard somebody talk about animals, and conservation has so many dimensions. We are only taking two slices of it today. One slice of it is of animal care or animal activism or animal rights, and how much we need to protect them. Because it's not about only elephant, right? Elephants have to live in forests, and we have to exist with forest and elephants together. How do we coexist? And then there comes the whole concept of climate change. And when we talk about climate change and how it's interrelated with the animals we live in, with the forests that we live in, with the nature we live in, it's all integrated. We saw it in COVID, right? And that's where science and science enthusiastic like Rakesh come in, because he does some very, very, very highly specialized photography and documentation of scientific expeditions. He is, of course, a science enthusiast, and that's where he uses his passion for filmmaking and photography in documenting some amazing work that the scientists are doing. As you know, Indians recently landed on the moon, and he's done some work for the space research in Chandrayaan-2, and he's perhaps the only one who has actually gone to the three poles, the Arctic, Antarctica, and the Himalayas, and stayed there with scientists, worked with scientists, documenting the work that they're doing. And I'm sure he will tell you a little bit more about how he uses his love for photography, filmmaking, and his work to make a difference in conservation. Because of course, what he does has to be ultimately used in many ways. So tell us, Rakesh, what you do and how you use I know you want to show films. Whenever you're ready, you tell us, and we will show those films. So over to you, Rakesh.
Yeah. Thank you, Vasanti. Thank you first for having me here. And not thanks to you for taking away my thunder, because I was just about to tell people that conservation is just not about animal and when we talk about conservation, people think it's just about conservation is all about conserving animal and animal rights and all, which is extremely important. And frankly speaking, after seeing Bijit's film, I was actually wondering why are we the way we are? Humans probably.
So cruel.
It takes you to a different level. Of course, it anguishes you, it angers you, it does a lot of things, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it. But just taking forward from that, when we talk about conservation, it's just not about animals, as I was just saying. Conservation has many connotations to it. I mean, we need to conserve our waters, we need to conserve our air, we need to conserve our ice in the polar regions, our soil. What we just recently saw in what happened in the Himalayas, with whether it's the Uttarakhand or Himachal Pradesh issues, what's happening with the mountains, everything. It's even about our heritage, even about our night sky. It's all about conservation. We need to conserve all of this which exists, and it's quite important that we start making films that talk about these issues, because I always have found, I come from a physics background, from a science background, but I always was involved with photography and films. And I always felt that, and it's always said, photography, one picture speaks 1,000 words, but films are nothing but, they're motion pictures. They're like, you can get so much amount of information put through films and spread across to the right people. And the right people here, totally agreeing with Brigitte, is that you need to go to schools, colleges, and universities, educate these people. But having said that, I think what the films that we also end up making, we're taking it one step ahead, that we're not just stopping at the schools, colleges, we're also going to the policymakers. We're also going to the industry, because these are the ones that need to act upon it right now. As it's always said, we are in crisis, we are in climate crisis. Politicians might agree, not agree. Industries, oil industries may agree, may not agree. There are a lot of climate crisis, climate change skeptics. But it's very important that we show them the reality. And films and photographs are one of the most powerful visual tool that we can use to tell people. So I did one film. I've been on several expeditions documenting. I mean, I jokingly call myself as the paparazzi for the scientists. So wherever the scientists go, I keep following them and documenting what they do. And sometimes it's very difficult for scientists to communicate with the general masses, because they are at that level, and general masses, it's very difficult for people not coming from a science background to understand what science is happening. So that's where people like me come into picture, to bridge the gap as communicators. And we use photography and films as a tool to bridge that gap. We show what scientists do, what research happens, what are the findings, and get it in the form of films. So, and we take it to schools, colleges, and showcase it. So one film that we recently did, and I'm very happy that it's been traveling a lot at several festivals and forums, and been screened at several places across the country, internationally, at different events and things like that. So is the Climate Challenge. I mean, the film, while we were naming the film, we thought, there are thousands of films on climate change. But nobody understands one aspect of it, is that when climate change, people talk a lot about climate change. There is the other side of it, that people don't realize how are the scientists getting these data, and what are the challenges that they need to go through in getting these data and things like that. So that's where the film Climate Challenge comes. It talks about following scientists to the 3 cryospheric polar regions, that is the Arctic, Himalayas, the Antarctic, the Southern Ocean, and Antarctic. So people have this notion, when and I always do this when we go to schools, colleges. The first thing that I ask them before screening the film is that, what comes to your mind when I say the word scientist? So people, the kids, basically always say that, or for that matter, I ask them, like, what comes to your mind when I say or how does a scientist look? Everybody has the typical stereotypical answer, that they wear lab coats, they have this glasses, beard, hair, they're eccentric people, and mixing chemicals, which is partly true. But then there are these scientists from across the world, and of course from India, who go to some of these extreme places, -30, -40, high altitude regions, wherein oxygen is just like 40%, of the regular oxygen that you have here at 18,000, 19,000 feet, and brave some of the most toughest oceans. The Southern Ocean, for almost 2-3 months, they're sailing across it, riding across the heavy waves. And so I thought that it's important that we tell people that scientists are just not the ones who just sit in the labs, but also go to these places and conduct research and are finding some of the most startling and the most very, very saddening results. I mean, we recently had a German institute publish a report in the Arctic where they found more than 12,000 pieces of microplastics found in just 1 liter of Arctic sea ice. 12,000 particles of microplastics. I mean, can you imagine? And this is in the most remote places where human habitation is not even are not there. Of course, it's the ocean currents which take it there, but it suddenly starts getting you to think. I mean, what have we as humans done to this planet? I mean, plastics were never natural or something like that. It's all man-made. And 12,000 particles of plastics, microplastics, in just 1 liter of Arctic sea ice. So, so I made a film on all this, and it's been getting a lot of support and things. So probably what I'll do is I'll request Dipender to probably just screen the teaser of the film, and then probably I can just quickly talk more about it before I move ahead. We can have the first film, Climate Challenge.
Every winter there was enough ice to walk over the ice. Since 2006 it hasn't happened anymore.
We are starting our scientific activities first from Chhatrida Glacier.
So yeah, that was a short teaser for the film, The Climate Challenge. The thing is, we understood that keeping a film like this, which documents all of these places, hidden only for festivals and only for copyrighted content, is a wrong thing to do. So we have just released a film in public domain for abuse, misuse kind of concept. So it's all available on YouTube. If you just search The Climate Challenge, it should be available. And I would request everyone to just download it, use it the way you all want it for any purposes. We don't want to keep it because the idea is to create as much awareness as possible and tell people about the issues, what are happening in these places. So the film also does talk about, how everything is connected. I mean, we in India or the tropics or the mainland countries, we feel that, oh, something is happening in the Arctic or something is happening in the Antarctic. Anyway, they are too far off places. How does it matter? But everything is interconnected. Nowadays, our monsoon has got total dependency of what happens in the Antarctic. The monsoon influences the melting of the Arctic. The Arctic influences the entire world ocean. If you suddenly see the extreme events which are happening across the world, is all because of all these connectivity, and we all are connected. as they say, I mean, what happens in the Arctic or Antarctic doesn't stay in the Arctic or Antarctic. It comes back to us. And so the film talks about all these connections. And talking about just the impact of this particular film, what we have tried to do is the films that we do, we make also ensure that we don't stretch it to more than 25 minutes. The reason being, what I've realized is that we want these films to be shown in schools and colleges. And if you see a regular period, or the classroom duration is generally 30 minutes to maximum 45 minutes. And we never wanted any films to be cut into half and then shown again maybe the next time, whatever happens. So what we have realized is this 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes is a perfect bracket wherein we screen the film. And then we leave that 6 to 7 minutes of discussion where people can talk, the students can talk about the film. And yeah, it's been pretty interesting journey last 12 years documenting all these places and seeing firsthand impact of climate change and seeing the results, what is happening. Today we might talk about COVID coming and destroying a civilization. We might talk about the next whether it's the war that is happening in Russia, Ukraine, destroying people or something, but climate change is much more bigger threat that we have. And I mean, I always give this analogy. I mean, COVID is just like an heart attack, that something you get stressed out and you go to you get a cardiac issue and then you run to the hospital and you get a stent or a bypass done and you survive. Whereas climate change is more like a diabetes. It will kill you, but it's going to kill you very slowly. So if you don't get to understand what's happening around, whether it's I mean, it's just not necessarily it has to be in your backyard. It's everywhere. Something that's happening in the US is going to affect you. People need to know this, and films are very important to do it. Probably just to move around, there was another film that we recently did for the Ladakh government, which was, we were very happy. We were fighting for it for a long time. And finally, a group of amateurs, astronomers, scientists came together, convinced the government. And now India is very happy to have its first dark sky reserve. So more than 1,000 square kilometers in area in Ladakh around Henley region is now being declared as India's first dark sky reserve. So what is a dark sky reserve? Basically, just like a regular wildlife reserve where we have a big, huge area that protects all the wildlife and things like that. Here, we're trying to protect the night sky. And night sky is something that people living in the cities have forgotten, all our night sky heritage. We have got so used to the electronics, the TV and the screens and the mobile phones that we have stopped looking on top, which our ancestors used to do it. And the amount of light pollution is creating a lot of problems, not only for the humans, but also for the wildlife. I mean, if you see, the turtle nestings have been disturbed because of the light pollution. You have birds, migratory birds getting deviated because of this light pollution. Nocturnal animals, whether even as small as your insects, are getting affected because of the human-induced light pollution. So a reserve like this has a lot of conservation potential, and people are also visiting these reserves now and understanding the importance of the light pollution and how bad it is and it affects. So we made almost a 23 minutes film, which is also available in public domain. If you just type Henley, India's first dark sky reserve, it's out there. Probably I could just tease you all with the teaser. And whenever you all are in India, and if you do visit the Himalayas, then just look up to this place and enjoy the night sky. Probably we can just quickly screen the second teaser and then talk about it. So this is just a promotional teaser done for the Ladakh UT government. Idea was to tease people to come to Ladakh and see the night skies, the beauty of night skies that you don't see from your city light lit, polluted, uh, air polluted, light polluted skies, traffic polluted skies, or from the cities. So yeah, I mean, films are very important tool. And that we can use for communicating and storytelling, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and would more
Especially
than be happy to.
complex issues that you do touch.
Yeah.
Right, Rakesh? I mean, go ahead.
No, we can have questions. I mean, so we're more than happy to answer if there's any.
Yeah, thank you, Rakesh. There are actually a lot of questions in the chat, and I've been reading it as you go through. But I really wanted to kind of take a pause here to talk about how the science that you've just shown in just few seconds of your two films are actually very complicated and complex. And it has interlinkages with so many things. The fine balance of the planet Earth, the harmony of our nature that we have disrupted is now visible, especially with the barometers, the three poles that you have been to, Rakesh, Himalayas, Arctic and Antarctic. You can see the drastic future that we will all be facing very soon because they are the barometers. Yeah. If it's happening there, it's going to happen here. And if we can't prevent and preserve and conserve that, it's coming very soon. Our children, our grandchildren will have to go through miserable times to be able to live in this planet. And find balance of whether it's an elephant or a tiger or a smaller animal or a plant or a technology or marines. They're so interlinked. The plastics that are there has implications to my life here in New Delhi, which is far, far away. The fish I eat, the way I consume plastic. So it's also, and to be able to bring that in a beautiful film and to show that linkage to a child or to a human being. Forget about children. Why not us? Why not adults? Why not policymakers? Why not corporates? Why not programmers who are actually doing those films? Somebody made a question about, these are the guys who are making the, why are we not getting funding from them? Yeah, I think it's always the issue of funding. Completely, whether it's a civil society, whether it's a conservation activist, whether it's a filmmaker, we're all looking for funds. However, whatever we can do, we do. Just like what Rakesh did, he's just said a bunch of amateurs, just because they were concerned, got together, with the government, got some funds and did what they wanted to do. And it didn't come easy. It took long-term struggle. Right, Rakesh?
Absolutely. I mean, there were a lot of concerns and a lot of back and forth because it's not very easy to declare 1,000 square kilometers of area, and it's not a small area. It's 1,000 square kilometers is pretty big area for government to just declare it. And we were very happy that the government understood the importance, although it is Ladakh, not in the prime location based places, but it's a good step. Probably the idea now is to use Ladakh as a stepping stone and use it as a pilot project to go to other states and start doing this as and then multiplying it. And with a lot of people seeing the film, giving a lot of positive feedback and seeing how, so the film, it's just not about making a film and just not about showing the pretty skies there. There were a lot of issues that came out. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of questions about somebody, you just said, and you asked this question to Brigitte about, it's about the livelihood. So what we have also now tried to do is the Indian Institute of Astrophysics is now training the locals out there in astronomy and have set up these beautiful homestays. So people who come, they'll be paying them for staying there, and the locals will be actually showing them the night sky. And the government, through a bit of seed funding, we are giving them the telescopes. So the telescopes are being installed at different places in these homestays, so people can come and just see it. So the locals start earning the livelihood, and at the same time we get a good conservation of the night sky happening there. So
yeah, thank you. I think let's move into the next segment of taking questions. There are already so many. I'm sure you're reading it also, Brigitte. Brigitte, do you want to answer a few of the questions before I come back to again Rakesh about it? I think Joshua Aruna raised her hand. I think she wants to say something. Aruna.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this session that is very, very more interesting. I'm Joshua Aruna from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, where we are working in the Congo Basin issue about biodiversity conservation and the impact of mining inside protected area and some key biodiversity area. Yeah, I would like to add one thing as we are on the ground. I don't know this case of the meeting. This meeting is perhaps it is only for Indian region, Asian region, or American. If it is worldwide, I would like to suggest one thing. You know, as we last day we were committed for organizing a big convening in Africa here in Kinshasa. It was about the link to food production in kind of food system, sustainable food system, the link between food system, conservation of biodiversity and the climate change in the Congo Basin, where we found more 23 countries from Africa. After the meeting, we get some conclusion. Within this conclusion is that civil society in Africa is some kind abandoned. As we are acting on the ground, if you see, we are facing the main challenge about to access on the funding. Maybe we have the barrier about language because more opportunity of funding are coming from English country, but more, for example, if we talk about French country, there is no more action, possibility to access because of barrier of language. So, but also, if civil society could have another mechanism that could allow us from international level to access directly to funding, not depending on call for proposal. But nowadays we need it to identify on the ground the key actors and that could benefit capacity building on the ground, and from there they can act and we can save the planet, we can save our community, we can save and the Junus people and contribute to their livelihood. This is the key challenge we need, and we need together to increase our voice to international community on how they can support civil society on the ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aruna. We were thinking that we had lost the African voice, and you contributed that that part of it into this dialogue. So I agree with some of your suggestions. It's not as so simple as we've all been in the sector for more than 3 decades now. We understand your anguish, but we're all working towards certainly the what suggestions that you've made. I see Majda, right? How do you pronounce your word? Please tell us how do you pronounce your name?
Thank you very much.
Yes, Mada.
I hope you can hear me. Thank you so much. Actually, first thing first, I need to congratulate you for organizing such a very valuable and heartwarming type of event to discuss a very interesting topic that we didn't discuss in scientific type of conferences and much more deep than that. Actually, I need to congratulate and salute the efforts of Mrs. Brigitte and also Mr. Rakesh for these wonderful footages that prove that sincerely what scientists have been mentioned through years and decades, that we have to conserve our planet. We need to do something. You guys have proved it and show it with footage and video filming. That actually gives much more proof and much more like impact on our like speech, because scientists, when we speak, we didn't have footages that touch the hearts through your art, through your eyes. Actually, I need to mention that the video that Mrs. Brigitte have shown us have impacted me deeply as a human being. It have broke my heart, but as a scientist, as an engineer in ecology and biodiversity management, I feel like I am incapable of doing anything, sincerely, to be honest. And I believe if we could do something, I need to highlight the fact that Mr. Rakesh have said we need to conserve more than natures and more than animals. We need to conserve plenty of very valuable factors in our gorgeous planet Earth. What about conserving human good behaviors by addressing educations? I am very done with speaking to scientists. I want to speak to children. I want to show them because they are the future. We did speak with scientists so many times. Nothing have happened. Nothing have changed. I think time came to speak to children because as the director academic of Ecoastronomy Sri Lanka and as a teacher, when I speak to children, I have some feedback from them and they prove with facts and with actions that they are going to be those who gonna save and protect our nature and all our beautiful environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I agree with what you're saying. We are speaking to children, but sometimes children ask you some very important questions. I will do my bit, but will you do it? Are you doing your bit? I don't have an answer. So it's not just children or scientists, it's everyone. And so every effort matters in this. Birendra Singh ji, do you want to say something before I open the floor to the Brigitte and Rakesh again? Birendra ji, can you be please brief?
Thank you very much. I think it's a very good topic that you started, and I'm very welcoming of that. My suggestion is that all of these films that are there, is there a central repository where we can access them and use them? Like Rakesh has said, it's useful because I'm speaking from New Zealand, and in the island nation of New Zealand, we definitely will view this and use it. So please, all you filmmakers, you are our tools to getting that message out to the audiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for joining us, and I love their suggestion. For your information, Rakesh has obviously told you that these films are available online. Even for Nature for All website, you can find amazing films, and they're all free to use. So you can go ahead and use it.
Thank you.
So does CMS VATAVARAN. We do archive. You can go to our archive and ask for it. It's free only for educational purposes because it has some copyright issues. Some of the filmmakers give them free for educational purposes, and then we can share it with you for educational purposes only. So again, if you seek, you will find. There are certain places where you can find these beautiful films, and there are festivals like ours, and I see Leah there, and there are others who are in the Green Film Network. There are amazing festivals who do exactly what we are doing. We are bringing together filmmakers and passionate activists, scientists, children, policymakers, and making sure these films are available to you to do your work more effectively in any part of the world and with any audiences that you seek to. Marco, I know you raised your hand. I'm sorry, I do not have so much time. So can you be little short so that I can just move on? I need to Brigitte to answer some of the queries that have come up in the chat. Have you put your hand down, Marco? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Why don't you put it down in the chat? Then we can I can ask Brigitte to speak and you can also see. But thank you for all for joining. Brigitte, over to you because I know we have only 15 minutes now and I want to hear some of the very amazing comments that have come in the chat. Please respond to that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vasanti. Yeah, one question was if and how otherwise will they make a living? That is a question. I'm talking about the mahouts. I assume that's the question which is meant, the mahouts and the owners. So The owners are filthy rich. I'm not talking about them. The mahouts are so often dispensed from their jobs because they are not paid properly by the rich owners. That's one thing. And they leave the elephant, which is another critical, very critical thing for the animal. What we did is, besides all this information, what we did is we wanted to turn that table, and we made a meeting that was Hotel Clark's in Amer, together with Help in Suffering over there, and together with veterinarians, and also with the forest department involved. And we have collected 20. The mahouts have to stay with the elephants. They could not come, but they would have been the more important ones. 20 mahouts on the one table. And we have put out a paper to join the matter. So that means to put, Peter has picked that up now, to put like, let's say, rickshaws painted with nicely elephants and can drive the tourists. We have involved the women of the mahouts and the owners to basically to advertise their own jewelries, to put shops there, restaurants, everything, the entire infrastructure that gives an enormous living for them, more than right now, since this is so much in dispute. We even have translated that into Hindi so that everybody can understand, and not the foreign English for them, because they're not very familiar with this English. So we translated it in Hindi. We have not heard one single word. The basic tenor of that is they are not interested in any change. Unfortunately, nothing. They just want to keep doing their business as usual. And I'm speaking mostly about the elephant owners now. I have to say, it's with very, very few exceptions, maybe like 5 or 10 in entire India on 3,000 captive elephants almost. Very few exceptions. They are just using the animal as an object that brings in the money and the livelihood, and that's it. They are not interested in animal welfare and nothing. And I'm not talking about the animal. I mean, frankly, I have this topic is so huge that I have no space and no room for anything other. But the main thing is that we talk about if an animal goes extinct, not only the animal goes extinct, the entire ecological systems go extinct. And that is a big thing, because we are losing the systems with the animals with the systems. It's
Yes.
like you are a scientist and you turn into a conservationist and a filmmaker, or you are a filmmaker and you turn into a scientist and a conservationist. These things are shifting constantly. They're very dynamic processes, and we need to. I'm struggling here to find a conclusive word for that, but maybe one will be: don't give up the passion that you have for nature. And nature is not something external. Nature is within yourself. Nature is what you breathe in. Nature is the sky that opens above your eyes. And nature is the ground where you put your foot on. And that is nature. And this is where we have to keep being and keep acting from here. If we cannot breathe anymore, there's no point to put anything out there. So yeah, I think I have said my part, and I would just conclude with that. Start from yourself and spread it in
nature.
the world.
If you can.
Yeah.
Sorry?
We lost you in the last bit. Your connection is weak and we can't hear you very well. Your connection
Exactly. It's becoming weak here.
And we got your point loud and clear. You just really said, we are nature. We are nature. If we don't take care of our nature, we're not taking care of ourselves.
It is, what I said is, the nature is above your eye horizon. The nature is where you step on. This is the nature we're starting from.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Brigitte. I wouldn't have been able to answer it much better, but I think there are certain questions and queries that are still asked, and I will come back to you for one last word. Even though I don't think we can beat what you just said, but I think Rakesh, you've seen the questions in the chat, and there are many of them. I think you want to answer any of the specific ones, or should I raise one?
Yeah, you can raise one, but I mean, just to add to Brigitte's statement, I mean, and I'm sure everybody watching and listening to her will definitely resonate with what I'm going to say, is that to do anything, whether it's conservation, whether it's even filmmaking, or whether it's even talking about conservation, talking about creating awareness, you need something that Brigitte shows so beautifully, and that is passion. You need to have passion and empathy to do what you do. And if you don't have that, then no work that you do will reach to its goal. No effort that you do will see its end. It's the passion, and you just need to just keep doing. I mean, people, I know people, I mean, when we do this workshop, I show them beautiful pictures of Antarctica. The first thing they ask me is that, oh, I would love to join you. I would want to go to Antarctica and things of that sort. I mean, yes, today you can do that, but then it has taken, and I want to do films like you or whatever. It has taken me 15, 20 years of, experimenting and reaching to the stage what you are, and that has happened because of constant passion of doing things and having to communicate and wanting to tell these stories to people. And seeing that it's just not about just making films. The films have to, the work of a filmmaker is just not to make films and just leave it for people to watch it. The work starts after you have made the film, for me, frankly speaking, and which I'm sure even Brigitte will agree with me, because when you document some stuff and you just put it out there, people will watch it, people will watch for the beautiful visuals sometimes, or see some sorrow content, and just finish it off and then go back, discuss about it, and then just forget about it. But no, your work starts, and just like what Brigitte does, we also keep going to many rural areas, schools, colleges, take the projector, go there, screen the film. It's not about marketing, but it's just about going and showing your content of what you have done and how it's going to affect you. Just not me. I might not live till things that you might. I mean, the changes might happen, but it's your future generation, and if you're concerned about it, you need to go and advocate about it more.
Thank you,
yeah,
Rakesh.
if you have any specific questions, yeah.
No, I also actually wanted to add to what you're saying is somebody just put in the comment that why can't you make it available on the internet and people will see. People will see. We are bombarded with information. In today's world, there's no dearth of films or information. But when you do forums like this, what we're doing today, or when we do festivals, the idea is to get like-minded people together and to actually, my son always asks me, why do you do such festivals when I can see all these films on the internet? It's because of the ambience. It's because of access to like-minded people. I can never talk to Rakesh otherwise. I can never find Brigitte otherwise. How will I shouldn't ask them questions and know what experience matters? You can't do this on the internet when you watch a film. You can watch Rakesh's film, but to actually get to him and to hear him speak would be something completely different. That's what these forums and these mediums, these festivals do. We bring together such like-minded people so their action and magic happens. That's when your heart and your mind work together to inspire you to do things that are magical, that is required in this world today. And I think that's why I think we need to continue doing what we are doing. I think I will leave it at that, and I will just ask one final question to both the wonderful speakers who have shown us two very diverse kind of conservation action through their films. Is that what would your last word be for upcoming filmmakers? I see some of them are asking such questions about resources, tools, and also what they can do and how they can do it. And I know you face this day in and day out. What resources, what tools, and what action? Passion is certainly one. You've already flagged that up. If you have the passion, then be consistent. What other ways can they pursue their passion through filmmaking in conservation. Over to you, Brigitte, first, and then to you, Rakesh.
Things. I think my answer to that will be very simple. I still believe in the power of the visuals. I'm also a writer, but I just know that while writing something, it brings you, it's a different horizon. The power of film, of the visuals is that is, as I say, it is so powerful that you cannot escape. It will stuck in your mind, because the moment you see it in a theater or on a screen or wherever and on your computer, you see it and it really gets in. So this is a huge plus on filmmaking, and I think we all, and also young filmmakers, should use that tool consciously to bring awareness, to raise awareness and contribute significantly to topics, whatever it is, an earthworm, a single star, or a huge elephant, or whatever it is, a plant. We have lost so many species of plants, meanwhile they are going extinct. The IUCN knows about that. It is just mind-boggling when you open your eyes and you look into something, and the
Oh, has she frozen? Uh-oh.
Looks like,
Sorry, we lost her.
the connection. Yeah.
We lost Brigitte connection. I'm so sorry. She stays near the forest and her connection is weak. She's been saying it from the beginning, and this is what happens when you can't do it otherwise. So what do you, Rakesh?
We'll hope Brigitte comes back. It was very nice of her listening to her. It's always wonderful listening to her and her stories. But to add to it, what I could just say is that the biggest hindrance for a filmmaker is giving excuses. Excuses of, I don't have a camera, I don't have the budget, I don't have the editing tools or things of that sort, and that's the reason I can't make a film. These are just excuses. So for all the young filmmakers who want to make films, you have the most powerful tool in your hand, and that is your simple mobile phone. Use it to document, use it to tell stories. Just start documenting. I mean, once you get into the groove of just documenting, it's not necessary that every shot that comes out has to be cinematic. Most of my films, or whatever, if you see, I mean, most of the shots are actually just shot on the phone. I mean, there are shots of me talking to some shepherds or something like that. And if I put up a big camera in front of them, they get nervous. So I just hide the camera and we just have a regular conversation and things of that sort. And they become pretty okay seeing or giving a bite on just on the mobile phone. But everything that you document is actually an archival tool. Today, when we talk about climate change, we go back into archives. I have actually done some projects wherein, we have gone to these glaciers and taken a photograph, trying to replicate the same photograph which was shot some 50 years back, seeing the data and seeing what are the changes. So wherever you travel, irrespective whether it's to do some holiday or vacation or on work, just start documenting, just start taking photographs. There is no problem with the technology today, the kind of tools that are there, the kind of phones that you have. You can shoot, edit, and publish just using your mobile phone. So I would just say in the end, stop giving excuses. No budget, no phone, no camera, no editing rig, no beautiful location. These are excuses. Just start documenting and tell the stories. Just keep uploading. Social media is a great tool. We don't need Netflix or Amazon or any of them to buy when you have a lot of free social media platforms available.
Yes.
Put it up there, share it with people, discuss about it, go to schools, go to colleges, go to universities, and even your society where you stay, show it to them, tell them this is what you saw, this is what you shot, and get the conversation going. I mean, that's all I would want to say in the end.
Thank you, Rakesh. Get the conversation started, tell your stories, no excuses. I think I could have ended
And just to say, I'm not that difficult to connect. I'm very much available on email and Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, wherever. And we connect. We can even connect over the phone. So please feel free to connect. And that's what I want. I mean,
start the conversation.
It's all learning. Frankly speaking, the best learning that I have got about filmmaking is not from some senior filmmakers, but from kids, from school kids. And I still have a lot of school kids who tell me and give me a lot of competition when it comes to making films, because the kind of creativity and the kind of awareness that they have today, I get zapped just looking at them. So just get the conversation started, and I'm more than welcome to connect and just say, and if you come down to Goa, I live in this beautiful city called Goa, a state called Goa. If you come down, just come say hi. Would love to catch up with you guys or a cup of coffee.
Thank you so much, Rakesh. Thank you so much, Brigitte. Amazing and wonderful listening to both of you. Very inspiring. A lot of takeaways, I think, for me and for all other participants. Really, thank you to the whole community for joining us and listening to us. I love your comments. They really motivate us, and I'm sure we will do many more such interesting series from the Nature for All IUCN CEC community. But I really want to thank all of you to join us today and to make this very interesting dialogue between you and us. Keep the conversation going. Start telling your stories. And I can't say that enough, and I will repeat it again. But at the end, I do want to thank all my colleagues, especially Jose, who's based in Vancouver, who's the brain behind Nature for All, who does all the work for us, and also my colleagues at CMS VATAVARAN, Sabyasachi, Kavita, Dipendra, who are all in the background helping us with all technicalities. So on behalf of all our panelists and Nature for All and IUCN CEC, namaste again. Thank you for joining us. Let the conversation begin so that we can conserve and protect and maintain the harmony in nature, especially for ourselves and for our children.